Hi, and welcome to TalkRx with Dr. Neha. This week I have an incredibly special guest, Mike Robbins, who's here with me. He's part of the Hay House family, and he's agreed to ask one of his communication questions so that all of you can learn. So welcome, Mike.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's so good to see you.
too.
We're always passing like ships in the night.
I know.
And I'm so glad we actually get to sit down.
Me too.
So what do you think? What were you thinking about? Like, what's a communication dilemma or something that keeps you up at night?
Well, I'm actually in the midst of a negotiation right now, and negotiating isn't my favorite thing. And this one's going on for a while, so my challenge is sort of how do I stay true and authentic and still try to get what I want? You know what I mean? Because there's definitely an agenda here, and I'm not used to having that strong of an agenda.
Yep. And are you the one negotiating it?
Yeah, we're trying to buy a house, so I'm negotiating directly, and so it's just trying to get the price that we want, and it's kind of going back and forth, and it's just out of my normal realm of what I do.
Yeah, so it gets you a little, all right, so let's start with, even as you're telling me this,
Yes.
what physical sensations can you feel in your body? Like, where's your body talking to you? If you take a deep breath in.
It definitely, I mean, just talking about it, I mean, maybe because we're in this environment, it's like my heart races a little bit,
Yeah.
or, yeah, and I kind of feel, I feel it a little bit in my stomach.
Okay, so a little heart racing and stomach turning.
Yeah.
So, first of all, we're not airing this until you get the deal.
Okay, good, good.
Because I'm not going to be telling everybody that
Right.
Mike's nervous about his deal.
Yeah.
So, the second piece is, what are you most afraid of here?
I think I'm most afraid of screwing it up. Like, I'm afraid I don't know, I'll back down, I'll get scared, the guy I'm negotiating with has more experience, he'll beat me. So it's like the competitive part of me doesn't want to lose, and I'm afraid, but it's a big deal. We want this house, and it would be great if we could get it. So.
Okay, so it would be that so there's a few things here. Yeah. Right? Because one of them is, there's the status piece of he has more experience than I do.
Yes.
So I sometimes actually find this in the whole world of writing and speaking and all of that. Like when I have friends who have put out, 8 books and 10 books, like they make more money than I do when they speak, right? It's bigger, it's like this endless competitive whatever. Yeah. That was the first thing I heard, right? So the comparison piece is number one.
Yep.
Are you letting that undermine you? Because you're pretty smart.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, you're pretty sharp. And it's like, there's something emotional there.
Yeah.
Right? And then it's about your family. Yeah. It's like, we got to get this. Because you're obviously, there's an emotional component to this. You love this home.
Yeah, definitely. And, we bought a home a number of years ago, and then we lost our home during, the housing mess. And so there's that piece of like, we're in a good position. It does make sense, but I think there's still some of that residual, like the voice in my head is like, don't screw it up again.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay, so
I'm giving you a lot here.
No, it's good. It's really good. Because I think there's a lot of people out there, first of all, that had trouble in the housing market, right? Yep. And when you go through something that traumatic where you lose like Maslow's hierarchy of needs on such a basic level, it's a big hit. Yeah. And in that place, nobody's trying to heal through that. What they're trying to do is survive. Yeah. Right? Sure. And so it's one of those things, you shove it under the rug, you start making money, you start figuring out like, how do I get back on track?
Right. Right.
And so the beautiful part about this is that is resurfacing. Yeah. And all it is knocking on your heart and turning your stomach and saying, hey, Mike, I've been waiting really patiently. Yeah. And I want to know, what is it that is unhealed? So how about if I do this? What if I asked you the 5 questions that I ask my patients when they have a physical illness to kind of connect it to the rest of their life, but let's apply it to the purchase of this home, right? Or to actually to losing the experience in the financial, okay? So it would be, why this? Like, why is this important? Why was losing your home so important to you?
Why was it important? You mean like the pain of it, or the lesson of it?
Just all of it. Like in that moment, why this? Why did it need to happen? Like, why did it need to happen in your life?
It taught me a lot about myself, about my wife, about what was important, about money. I mean, it was such a blessing.
Okay, but in that moment, it was like we needed a wake-up call. For sure. And we needed it on a primal level. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So the next question is, why now? So let's just imagine, like, why did it happen? Like, why did you need it in that moment? Like 2008, 2009, right? Yeah. Well, timing of your life.
It was just time to grow up. It was time to grow up and time to, you know, stop pretending like we were grown-ups, but actually be grown-ups.
That's so good. And now looking back, what signals did you miss?
I didn't trust my own gut and intuition that said, because what happened was I didn't think we were ready, and the fear kind of got in the way. Well, if you don't get a house now, you remember in those days, it was like, you're going to get priced out of the market, you're not right. And so it was a lot of fear, and then I thought, well, I'm just being scared, and I'm going to, so it was like I didn't listen to that as opposed to it being just an insecurity. It was actually my gut saying, I don't think this is quite right.
And you went anyway.
Yeah, and so I think the challenge even right now is to try to just listen and what's my gut really telling me as opposed to what do I think it's supposed to be telling me.
And what is your gut really telling you, and what part of you is just scared from what happened?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because right now you're in a different place.
Totally different place.
Totally different place.
Yeah.
So the fourth question is, what else needs to be healed? So at that time, I think you answered a little bit of this.
Yeah.
But what else needs to be healed? If you were asking yourself back then.
What else needs to be healed?
Like where you talked about your, well, I'm not going to answer. I'm going to let you answer. But you talked a little more globally about it.
Yeah, I just think it's around like trust, self-trust and belief, you know, and also just a reminder that it's okay to make mistakes. I mean, I think just even as we're talking, I'm thinking like, even if I screw this up, whatever that means, like whatever, it's fine. I screwed it up really bad and it's pretty good now. So, I mean, things have really turned around in so many ways. So maybe there's not as much to lose as I really think that there is. So.
And final question, if you spoke from the heart, what would you say? What would you say to that self, that one in 2008? What did that person need to know? It's funny,
what's right there, it's like, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter. I mean, that's kind of, you know.
It matters a lot, and it doesn't matter.
That's the paradox, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
So is that helpful?
Totally helpful, thank you.
Yeah, because I think as soon as you like kind of let this come out and let this like be healed, like, oh, that was a monster under the bed, you look underneath and there's like dust bunnies, you know? I think now, when you go with your gut, it's going to be a lot easier because you'll know what's that and what's the fear of the old. Awesome. Great. You're so welcome. So if any of you are facing a challenge or something in your life, maybe some of you went through something similar to what Mike did, just make sure that you ask yourself some questions to sort out what is your fear of the past and what is unhealed from the past and what is actually your current reality right now. So thank you so much for joining us.
You're welcome.
And yeah. Oh, and I wanted to mention before we go, one of the things that has really helped me get connected to Mike, because we're always ships passing in the night, is reading his book, Nothing Changes Until You Do. Because just as real as he was here, he is throughout this entire book. And it really had me feeling, I feel so connected to you, even though we haven't spent as much time as I would like.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So thanks, everybody, and until next week.